Wilson on Monday, and Luke said it. This would have been around the time when he would be basically sweating profusely because he would know he's 7-8 days away from arriving at camp, and it's the VO2 test, it's testing, it's putting pads on, it's, the NFL's intense, man. Every league is intense, but the NFL's a crazy, crazy scene. And if your contract's not guaranteed, or you're in a position where they could cut you, like that is living dangerously, man. It's tough.
That weight room that weight room experience is vastly different than the NHL weight room experience. Like I've heard those NFL rooms, when it comes to testing, they're yelling, they're screaming. Guys are like trying to put as much weight on the bar as they possibly can. NHL weight room, it's like, oh, Stratty's just doing the bench right now. I'll hop in after him. Meanwhile, those guys are they're animals, man. They're absolute animals.
Going crazy in the NFL.
I worked out with this guy, Ian Danny, here in Edmonton. He was a great trainer, and we had this one guy that didn't really try. He was worked out with us kind of, and he didn't really work out that hard all summer. So he was, like Luke, he was like, oh man, I'm so nervous about the testing. And our trainer's like, don't worry about it. You haven't worked all year. Just relax, because from now till that testing time, it's not going to change at all. So just enjoy these next 7 days, because you haven't prepared. And he just walked off, and I was like, he's so right. He's like, there's nothing you can do about it now. And I'm not suggesting Luke wasn't in shape, but
right.
If you haven't put the work in for the last 3 months, just enjoy the last week, because nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
You don't crash diet and get into shape over 7 days. Like you are what you've done the last 12 weeks. If you didn't make the playoffs, that is.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. By then, it's over, man. Like it's already probably been determined. You're either ready to go or you're not. So yeah, we've got NFL training camps starting up real soon. We'll catch up with the nail gun in about a half an hour on that and more. So the Leafs and the Canucks made a deal today. Dakota Joshua on his way to Toronto, who was a Maple Leaf pick originally, in exchange for a fourth rounder. And we've discussed, kind of where Joshua could fit in. You said, Frankie, when he was at his best last year, he was playing on the left side. That's probably where he plays. And maybe it's him, Nicholas Waugh, and I don't know who else would be on that line, but maybe that's your third line. Maybe Lawton's up the middle and Waugh and Joshua on the wing. And that's your identity kind of third line that Berube's been looking for. If that's the case, I'm not sure what the fourth line would look like. But from Vancouver's standpoint, like I'm going to get to my rankings here halfway through July. Like the Canadian teams ranked 1 through 7. Their offseason has been tough. I mean, Rick, it started really with Rick Tocchet saying, thanks, but no thanks, I'm out of here. I'd rather go to Philly. So Adam Foote ends up, moving up, assistant coach into the head coaching role. This Quinn Hughes stuff, they just can't, they're never going to escape it. Like, what is his future going to look like? Is it just inevitable he's going to team up with his brothers? And if so, we all know it's likely to be in Jersey. It's not going to be in Vancouver. So that's going to lead to a lot of anxiety. The Elias Pettersson story, what does he look like once he gets there? Now, they got Besser back, which I think was a win for them. When he's healthy, he's a good player, could score goals.
Big win.
That was a surprise. Yeah, that was a surprise. But now you've traded Joshua for nothing. Like, where is Vancouver going here? What do they have up their sleeves that you're just dumping a player? Again, for a fourth-round pick, it's a salary dump.
Yeah. They're not a better team without Dakota Joshua. It is a salary dump. They needed the flexibility, so they must have something up their sleeve, because, like, there was even talk that they were interested in moving on from Teddy Bluger, and like on the surface, you're like, Teddy Bluger makes under $2 million, useful center iceman, kills penalties, blocks shots. So they're in the mindset of they're trying to do something maybe aggressive that they need a little more flexibility to do. So now they got 3.25 off their books in Joshua, and we'll see what they can do with it. But I like looking at that lineup today. They're not a better team without Joshua. Toronto's a better team with Joshua, and it's not like, listen, it's not like they've got some monumental piece now, but they got a really good depth piece who plays a different style of game, who is going to fit a role and fill a need for them. So that should be considered a win for Toronto, especially considering the price that you paid to get him is only a fourth-round pick,
right?
In 3 years.
Yeah, I think just to follow up on that, I think what you're talking about, Frankie, is an upgrade. They upgraded their bottom six by getting this player. On the flip side, Vancouver, I think we've got to give them a break. I think that they believe Evander Kane is an upgrade on
Joshua, which is true. Like if Kane's healthy, that's valid, 100%.
Yeah. So the money isn't that much different. I think it's $1 million. Oh, is it $2 million different? I think Evander's at $5 million maybe, and Dakota's at $3 million. I think Evander could score more goals. I think that he is more of a hard guy to play against consistently over his career than Dakota has been. So I think there's an upgrade there. But the problem is, you want to have more than one player like that. You know, we talked about that earlier, right? So Connor Garland, I love him, but he's a very small player, and he can chirp and get into people's faces, but he's not physically dominating people, even though he's a hard player to play against. So be interested to see what comes next, but I do think this is Kane in, Dakota out.
Yeah, that's a good point. And they acquired Kane really for nothing either, because they didn't need any money. Like that was Edmonton just wanted out of the salary, and they did that. So that has, I guess, has been evident here. Like if you have money to play with, you can take advantage of teams that are looking to get rid of players who have value, but they just know they can't have them anymore based on the numbers crunch, which again is unique to Toronto. Because they're never in a position to do this.
No kidding.
Like over the last handful of years, they've never been able to just pluck a guy because he's available. They've never had the money to do it or flexibility to do it. But they've also, again, from a Leaf perspective, filled up a lot of that flexibility. Like Michelli's, what is Michelli making? $4 million or something like that?
Michelli's he's at 3.4.
Okay,
Michelli.
So he's at 3.4. Nicholas was at 3, and Josh was at 3.25. So, between the three of them, you're talking almost $10 million, 9.5.
Yeah,
that's a lot of the 11 million Marner going out. They've effectively filled with those three guys.
Well, and if you look at the Leafs on Puckpedia, right, you have two guys. One makes 13.2, one makes 11.5. Then it goes down to Nyes at 7, and there's I'm just talking about the forwards. Like Morgan Riley's also a $7 million player, but there's no one in the 6s, there's no one in the 5s. Then it goes down to the 4s. So they're still trying to repair this cap structure so that they could make it a little more gradual and it doesn't just fall off a cliff, but it still does. It's just you can't do that in 1 year, even though Marner's gone and now Tavares is off at 11 and he's in the low 4s. It's going to take time for them to really get that nice, even, gradual cap structure where you can have a couple $6 million players on your books.
Right. And those guys have value too, right? Like those are good players. You're not getting them for a 4th round pick. If you want to get a guy who's making 6 or 7 and is worthy of that contract or can exceed it based on his production. But yeah, I mean, I think from a Leaf perspective,